Okay, so what we are going to be doing today is we are going to construct one of these cute little animal faces. As you can see here, the animal face is really just made up of different shapes. So if I pick it apart a little bit, you can see the different shapes that make up our little bear face. Now, all of these shapes here are made by using this tool here that we've used before. So to the left hand side of your screen, you'll see either a circle or it may be a rectangle. Now to choose a different shape, all you do is long hold on it and then you get your choice of which shape you want. Another way to remember it is you can press L on your keyboard. So if you just press L, it'll go to the ellipse, and the shortcut for rectangle is M. So you see you've got the rectangle here. Oops, at the moment it has no fill, but if we change that you can see. And then if I press L, it'll go to a circle. So they're just some good shortcuts to remember. Now, when we're constructing our little face like this, we are starting with the ellipse tool. So the ellipse tool is the circle. I'm just going to go ahead and change my fill color. And remember, we do this by double clicking on this square here. This square here is the stroke. So that's the outside of the shape. So see here how that is black around there? That is called the stroke, and the grey is called the fill. So I've gone ahead and changed my fill to blue, but you can change it to whatever colour you would like your little face to be. So then I'm just going to select my ellipse tool, and I'm just going to create a circle like that there. Now what we want to do is we want to squish this up a bit, so make it more into this shape here. So to do this, we can either press A on our keyboard and it will automatically change to the direct selection tool, or we can click on our little white arrow. Now when we click on our little white arrow, we'll see that there's these anchor points that have came up, and these anchor points here are what we use to create this shape and squishing out our face. So if you just have a bit of a play around with that to start with to familiarise yourself, that might be the best idea, because it is a little bit tricky when you're first starting out to work out where you're pulling your anchor points from. I'm going to go ahead and pull my anchor points out like that. As you can see, if you push these, if you click on these, you can easily change the shape to however you want it. We want to have an even type of face. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on these different anchor points and just change it around a little bit according to my picture here. So now we're ended up with a shape like this. Remember, if we need to move this shape around, we are pressing V to go back to our black arrow, which is the selection tool. And now you can easily move that around. Now we want to create these pointy bits here. So once we have this selected, we need to go back to this direct selection tool. So by pressing A on our keyboard, and then just clicking an anchor point. And then we want to convert. So we want to convert our selected anchor points to a corner. So when you select that convert up here, it will change it to more a sharp angle. If you want to convert selected anchor points to smooth, more of a smooth, soft angle like we've done here with the panda, you would click up here to convert selected anchor points to smooth. But for the purpose of creating this bear, we're going to make sure that we convert our selected anchor points to a sharper angle. So then you go ahead and you've got that one there. Then you're clicking on this anchor point and creating another sharp angle like that. So you end up with a shape looking a little bit like this. Then we just want to make it maybe a little bit bigger, just play around with a few different parts of it. If we're not quite happy, we can always change these anchor points up by clicking on them and moving them around to make them more even as well. What we're going to do is we're going to make these little ears here, and by making these ears we want to make sure we are selecting the polygon tool which we used before, and we are going to just click on that and create a triangle shape. Now you might see that when you use the polygon tool, your polygon may come out this shape here. In order to make it a triangle, you are just using your down arrow keys and just keep clicking until you get a triangle shape like that there. So then we are just going to zoom in. Remember, when we are zooming in, we are doing Command plus or Command minus to zoom out. And then I'm just going to go back to my selection tool and just move it around a little bit as well, making sure it is nice and straight there. So now we've got this shape here. We want to create this round, smooth shape instead. So in order to do this, we are going to go make sure our triangle is selected with the selection tool. We are going Object, oh no we're not, we're going Effect, Warp, and then down to Bulge. And we are clicking that. And then we've got a little window like this come up. So you'll have all your details here. We need to make sure that the style is selected to bulge, and our little dot is clicked in the vertical section right here, which was already clicked for me. Also making sure we have preview on, because when we don't have preview on, we can't see our adjustments. So when you come into this little section here, it'll probably look something like this. What you want to do is you want to change this vertical bend to 40%. And then it should come up showing you this more bulge shape. We're then pressing OK, and then what we want to do is we want to expand the appearance of our object so we can easily move it around. So Object, Expand Appearance. So now we have a shape here which we can freely move around. Now we also want to make sure that we have these rounded corners up here at the top. So remembering we need to select our direct selection tool this time, because we need to alter our anchor points. So we are clicking on the white arrow, or we are pressing A on our keyboard, and then we are clicking this top anchor point here, double clicking to ensure that we can smooth our corners around. Now we're just going to double click here, our selection tool, click this little anchor point up the top, and we are going to convert selected anchor points to smooth. So then that makes all our anchor points smooth rather than the sharper ones which we did with the face. Then we're just clicking out, and now we have our nice round shape. Now we want to make sure that we have that dark blue bit in the middle there for the ear. So we are doing Command C, Command V to make another copy. We are holding down Shift to resize our copy. And we're going to change it to a darker blue colour, or whatever colour you want for your little bear. And then you're placing it on top of your shape you have just made. Now we want to make sure that we bring this object to the front. So this blue, the darker blue is always at the front. Then we're grouping them together, so Command G, and then we want to place it and resize it so it can fit on our little bear like so. So I'm just going to use the anchor points and line it up. Hold down Shift, make it smaller. There we go. Now once we're happy with the shape and the positioning, we're going Object, we're going to transform reflect and making sure we preview it, and we're just going copy. So now we have a reflected copy which we can drop with our smart guide on the other side. So there we go. We've got our ears and our face shape there too. We're going to make our little nose and our mouth. So for this we need to go back to our ellipse tool. We want to make it this colour, but you can choose whatever colour you want to. And then we are creating our nose shape, going to our direct selection tool or pressing A on our keyboard. And we want to make the nose so it isn't a perfectly round shape, because most noses on animals are not perfectly round. So we're just dragging our anchor points around just to make it a bit of a different shape, so a bit of a squished circle. So after we've done that, we want to create this cute little mouth here. So we're using our ellipse tool again, and this time we're making sure that we don't have any fill. So we are making sure that our little box has the red stripe through it, and we want to make our stroke, so the outside, black. We also want to make sure that it's probably just a little bit thicker, but you can play around with that as you go. I've put it on 3 points, so I reckon 3 points is probably pretty good. So then you've got your empty circle here, and what we're going to do now is we are going to use the scissor tool, which you may have not used before. So we're making sure that we've got our little mouth selected, and we're clicking the scissors tool, which is just here. You may have it on the eraser tool, so in order to change to the scissor tool you want to press C on your keyboard, or you want to just long hold on the eraser tool and change it down to scissors. Now what we want to do is we want to cut it in half. So in order to do that, we want to click this anchor point up the top, and then we want to click this anchor point on the side as well, and that should segment it. You might also want to click the other side as well. So we're just clicking our little dots here, so we can cut that top bit away. Then we are pressing B on our keyboard to go back to the selection of what we just cut, and then we're simply just deleting these sections away. So after you've deleted these sections away, then you've got your little mouth here that you can drag up and put underneath your nose that you've just made. Now, to make this little white shape here, we're just copying Command C, Command V, our big face shape. We're holding down Shift and resizing it so we have the exact same shape, but we want to create that nose shape. So we're just going to place that over the top there, and we want to change it to white. So we're just going to grab our eyedropper tool and click on the white space there in order to keep it that same colour. Now we want to make the nose and the mouth come forward, so we're going Object, Arrange, Send Backward. You might need to do it a few times so you bring the nose up. Just play around with it. Otherwise, what you can do is you can select the nose, hold Shift down, select the mouth, arrange, bring to front. So then those objects are always at the front. And then you are just putting your little mouth section under there. Now what we might want to do is we also may want to round these corners here. So remembering when we're rounding the corners, we are clicking back to our direct selection tool, and we can click these corners here and just go round out if we like the look of the round face more, which you may want to play around with. I'm going to leave mine rounded, and I'm just going to play around with the positioning of the mouth and the nose, so I'm happy with it. Remembering to look at your smart guides there, because it'll tell you when it's in the center, those little purple lines, and when you're moving it around. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to create this blue shape here in the darker blue circle. So remembering to do so, what we're just going to do what we did with the mouth. So we're Command C, Command V of the main face. And if we just eyedropper, I'm just going to eyedropper it, but you will have to change the color manually. So you double click on your fill and change the color that way. But I am just going to eyedrop it because I have the image in front of me there. Now I'm just going to place it where I think it looks like it should be and arrange and send backward. You might want to keep doing this until everything pops up. There we go. So then we have our back of our face too. Now we want to create these little eyes here, so that's pretty straightforward. We know we just need to select the ellipse tool and we want to create it to be a black colour. So I'm just eyedropping that, but you will change your fill as well on your computer. I'm just going to zoom in so I can get a closer look of the eye. And then I am going to create a little white circle for the reflection. And that should be quite good like that. If I'm happy with that, then I'm just going to group all these together. So I'm going to go, can't see what I'm doing. We're going to make sure that is selected, hold down Shift. So now they're both selected and we're going to go group. And now we can reflect it or we can copy and paste it, whatever you prefer. So reflect, copy, and then you can just move that around there. Now you might want to move this little eye reflection around as well, because otherwise he'll look like he's cross-eyed. Now, I'm going to make sure that these are positioned nice and straight. So just going in and moving this one around. There we go. And now we've got our little bear's eyes there as well. Bear off, we want to split this back face bit in half. So we're just selecting this and then we're going to our direct selection tool or pressing A on our keyboard. We're going to use our scissor tool again. So we're going to click the top anchor point and then click the bottom anchor point as well. So that's splitting this shape into half. And then we are pressing V on our keyboard and we are just moving these really slightly just out to give that line in the middle there. So if we just move that one out to around there, I think that's looking pretty good. Now for our last part of our bear, we want to create a shadow on one half of the bear. So after we have grouped all our bear together, so remembering we need to go to this tool here and drag a rectangle over and go Command G. Then all of our parts are grouped together. Now after we've done this, what we want to do is we want to create another copy. So going Command C, Command V, and so now we've got another copy over the top. Now we just want to align that with the back of the bear, and we want to go over here to our Pathfinder and go Unite. So we're uniting everything together. And we'll get a flat bear shape on the top there. Now we just want to play around with the opacity a little bit and dull it down a bit. We can change that after if we want. And then we are just double clicking off, selecting that layer again, and then we're using our eraser tool to erase half of the bear. So we've got a shadow on one half and the other shadow is left vibrant. So we are holding down Alt on our keyboard and dragging over a rectangle on one side of the face. And then letting go, and it should have erased one half of your layer with the other half shadowed on that side. Now you can play around with that as well if you don't want it so dark. Switch it up a bit, and there you go. There is your bear. Remembering as well, we need to make sure that our Pathfinder, if this isn't coming up, we need to select it from our Windows panel and make sure that we have a little tick next to our Pathfinder. And then after we have finished that, we can group it all together, Command G, and now we've got our bear, and we can go Object, Expand, okay, and now we've got our bear that we can move around freely.